Hey guys, welcome back to Demon Souls. I'm going to go ahead and use those souls that I got from 4-1 last time. And then I'm going to use some of the souls I have in my inventory in order to get the Evacuate Miracle. Which all it does is bring you back to the Nexus, but it keeps all your souls at the same time.
Oh. Miracles are the work of God. May your actions mimic His greatness.
Hello again. I'm keeping it. Wait, where are you going?
Have you met the last surviving monumental? Those fools revived the old one on a whim. And now they've trapped us here in the Nexus in a desperate attempt to undo their mistake. It's all a travesty if you ask me. Well, you found yourself a demon soul, did you? I'm impressed, yes. Indeed I am. Stay the path, and you will soon be a monster yourself. Can't you see you've fallen for their trap?
We're going to go ahead and head over to 2-1, start up this area, and pretty much do the entire area. The first thing we're going to do is, there is a crystal lizard right at the start that I am going to kill, but I'm going to suicide in body form once again in order to drop world tendency. The reason for doing this is because we'll be able to get to another Black Phantom, but we do need to beat this first level. There's also a merchant right here at the start. He does sell some upgrade materials, but they are just shards of hardstone and sharpstone, which are relatively easy to get as well.
Hello there, souls. Souls. I trade fine goods for souls. Our little town. Well, it's a nice wee place. All those lizard-eyed townsfolk are busy tinkering with stone. And don't bother with old men like myself. Makes life rather easy for me. I can get away with anything. Thank you, Lord, for this golden opportunity. You're wont to play. Well, you've got to pay, don't you agree?
Starting to head over to the actual level. The good thing about this world is the fact that a lot of the enemies are weak to magic, so since we do have a split damage weapon, it is actually beneficial here. The miners in this area are also pretty weak to piercing weapons specifically, but since we're doing magic damage with our weapon, it doesn't really matter in this case. The first thing we're going to do is take this elevator down. There is another Stone of Ephemeral Eyes here. This is also an area we'll be coming to when we need to do the Black World Tendency event. And then we just ride up the elevator all the way to the top. This is the first time we're going to see the Fat Officials. They pretty much use fire spells, and they do have either a whip or a great axe as well. And the fire spells can actually hurt quite a bit if you have low health. But by this point I'm doing pretty good damage to them, so I am killing them in 3 hits, which is really good for this stage. You can also pick up the Crushing Battle Axe just outside here. The Crushing upgrade path is basically to increase the strength scaling from our weapon. You'll also notice that I picked up some Bladestone when I was in World 4. Bladestone is used to make sharp weapons, which is dexterity weapons, or dexterity scaling weapons. There's a lot of upgrade paths, and some of them are questionably useful, and others are actually really good to use. But none of them are really that important to us because we are using a weapon that is being used for its base stats and we don't have any scaling on it, so yeah. We are going to need some hardstone to upgrade a weapon so that we can make a specific other weapon out of it, but that's going to be a bit later on. So some of these miners have sacks that they're carrying, and if you kill the ones with sacks, you'll see they'll give you a bunch of materials. It seems to be that you can only get these materials the first time you kill them. Also, dogs are in this game, of course, and they're annoying, as they always are. Nothing changed there. You see I'm playing quite careless here. I actually get hit by this fat official. But you can see it's not actually doing that much damage, despite the fact that we are in soul form, and you know, these guys actually hit quite hard if you're coming here for the first time. So going to those other few worlds and leveling up a bit did a lot for us. Although I would say that the Stonefang Tunnel areas are not that difficult in general. I think I'm actually going to do the second level of World 4 after this, which is a bit more difficult as an area. It's also really good for soul farming if you need to do any of that, but I'm going to try and keep that to the minimum if possible. I really don't need to do it. Of course, I did just spend 20,000 souls on Evacuate, which is a bit pricey, but it's, you know, it's just a useful miracle in general. There's also shards of archstones that you can get that do the exact same thing, but they are consumables. But if you don't have either of them, you're going to have to use the Nexial Binding, which works like the Dark Sign, where you will lose all your souls when you use it. You need to drop down to this lever first in order to progress it all. So you're going to have to jump back down and backtrack a little bit. But there is quite a few miners here that I do decide to take out. I'm probably going to have to skip some of the crystal lizards, but a lot of the crystal lizards can drop pure stone if you're lucky. Pure stone is basically the sort of the capstone material. You usually only need one to upgrade a weapon to its highest. And I say a weapon, but you can upgrade shields in certain ways as well. These weird looking salamander things on the walls, if you see any of them, they are more than likely going to jump down and attack you. But they don't seem to be too bad. It's just this game loves enemies that you need to hit on the ground. And if you try and use slashing attacks like R1s for this sword, then quite often you'll actually miss them completely. And this was interesting. I thought these 4 enemies were going to come down, but they actually just all fell into the pit. I'm pretty sure they're not normally meant to do that, but whatever, I guess. And we need to progress in the level over to the right there, but obviously since there is lava there right now, we're going to need to do something else. So first of all, we can open a shortcut over to this side of the area. I am just going to collect the items on the side for now. There is another blacksmith here, Blacksmith Ed, but I'm not actually going to bother talking to him right now because I pretty much don't want to upgrade anything or repair anyway. So make sure that you hit this halfway through the level, otherwise you're going to have to do the entire part over if you die, which isn't great. But there is a few items you can get here that I'm just going to pick up now. There's an enemy up here that I always remember because you go around the corner and he immediately attacks you. But, yeah, once again I tried to R1 and hit a wall. I don't even know why I attempt to. Like, I know it's going to happen, but yeah, I still do it. But as you can see, we are one-shotting all these enemies. There's some pickaxe miners that seem to take more than one hit. I'm not entirely sure why that is. They might have slightly more HP. And I'm using cloak here because I spotted this lizard around the corner. And also, if you look up, there'll be just an absolute shit ton of enemies there. You'll notice I actually got pure spider stone there. That is kind of a rare drop there. Spider stone isn't that desirable though, because you get a free pure spider stone from the boss of this area. And the upgrade path it's used for is the sticky path for bows only, which makes it scale harder with dexterity. Seriously, a sticky compound longbow is really good if you want to do sort of any bow usage in this game. So instead of attacking all those enemies from the front, we're going to go up here and pick up a couple items while we're here. There's a steel shield, which is the Katara Shield here, that's quite heavy as well. I don't think it's as heavy as the other tower shields, but maybe I'm wrong. You're going to see me try to kill one of these pickaxe miners, and because of his hyper armor, he just hits me right there. So he seems to have slightly more health, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. One thing about World Tendency is it will affect the amount of souls that enemies drop, and also the amount of health that they have, I believe. So that is worth keeping in mind too. And once again, these annoying enemies. This time I've kind of learnt my lesson, just R2ing them. There's a few around the corner. There's actually more on the other side, but there's not even an item there, so I'm not going to bother. And of course, there's more dogs. There's always more dogs. One thing that I forgot to mention about World Tendency is when the servers were up, what the game would do when you went online was set you to the median or the... I'm not sure if it was the median or the average World Tendency. So you could potentially have a different World Tendency than neutral when you were starting the game. Since I have been playing this entire time offline, all of my worlds started in neutral, so I wasn't able to kind of... They weren't affected at all by being online. Now that that's done, we can pretty much backtrack a little bit, and then we head to the last area before the boss. The boss of this level is not very difficult. I would say he is harder than Adjudicator, but that's not really saying that much. I would definitely be careful when you enter this room though, because of course you could see what's going to happen. But he doesn't explode all of them at once, so there is that to keep in mind. I just completely failed to roll there. But you see that it actually only did about half of my health, which is surprisingly low, and I like how he just went ragdoll flying there. The ragdoll physics in this game are great fun. And I think there's like one more real enemy that we need to fight here, and he actually drops down from the ceiling after throwing a boulder at us, but he doesn't even hit us at all. So yeah, good job, buddy. There is a crisp blade that you can get here. It's basically for magic users. If you hold it in your left hand, or if you hold it and you're casting spells at the same time, it will increase your magic damage. We're actually going to send this elevator back up to save some time later on, because we're pretty much going to run through the same level, pick up this item over here, and then fight the boss. And I actually did pretty poorly on this boss, because I actually tried to push it accidentally a couple times, I think. But you'll see that it still wasn't that much of a challenge. I also used Water Veil, because this boss does have some fireball attacks. And with Thief Ring, he doesn't really see you until you get up in his face. But I get hit by a fireball immediately. And that's his main attack when you get into melee, is that weird sort of swipe. But when he does this, he gives you a lot of time to attack him here. And you'll see me try to accidentally push there, which wasn't great. But as you can see, with our damage, not much of a problem really. He does have one attack where he tries to, he kind of like powers up and then explodes, and you need to run all the way back to the entrance if you don't want to take damage. But if you finish the fight quickly enough, he'll never do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that first boss, and you're going to see that we do indeed get a pure spider stone from the archstone here. And now what we're going to do is the World Tendency events in Stonefang Tunnel.
The soul of the mind, key to life's ether. Art thou done?
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and kill the crystal lizard, because it has respawned since we did kill that boss. The one further into this level will also have respawned. So we're just going to go and suicide 3 times, actually 4 times I should say. 3 times from Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, and once because we just killed the boss and got back to body form. Nothing really special here, but just showing in its entirety so you know exactly what I'm doing. And after that we head back to the Nexus and check the world tendency that we have. So looks good. We're actually going to start at the first archstone, The Black Phantom that we want to kill is closer to the second one, but we want to do something in one run without going back to the Nexus, because you remember, if you go back to the Nexus, it's going to actually update your world tendency, which is actually a problem in this case, because we're going to kill something that is going to affect the world tendency, and we don't want to have to, you know, get a bunch more Stone of Ephemeral Eyes and then suicide a bunch more. But you can see something down there. It doesn't need to be pure black world tendency. I think this one appears sooner than that, but this is called a Primeval Demon, and they die very, very easily. But the cool thing about them is they drop a colorless demon soul, which is used to upgrade certain special equipment. Killing a Primeval Demon will increase your world tendency by 3. So we want to actually run all the way manually to the Black Phantom that I was talking about. I'm not going to speed this up at all, I'm just going to run through. It doesn't actually take me that long to get there, just because we can use some shortcuts now that we've actually finished the level. So yeah, that's going to raise the world tendency by 3, and killing a Black Phantom also raises the world tendency by 3. So when we killed Meralda in 1-1, that raised the world tendency back to slightly below neutral. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of world tendency and how it works. I am very interested to know if they're going to change that at all, but you can see some changes to the level. You can see that we have Black Phantom enemies now. These are pre-spawned or predetermined, but if you have a black world tendency, some of these enemies may show up. You can see one on the platform above us, but since we don't actually want to go out there, we can just skip it completely. You also may notice that we should be getting more souls from every enemy that we kill compared to before. This isn't a very good level for farming souls or anything, but since we do get to see some changes in terms of enemies, you know, worth mentioning that as well. Once again, there's another Black Phantom here, but this one isn't particularly anything special. You'll notice that the enemies, the Black Phantoms in the first levels of each world are generally not that strong. And since we sent that elevator up, we don't need to wait for it to come back up before going down. Okay, so since we made it to the Archstone here, we're going to see our goal. First of all, I'm going to kill this crystal lizard here. I think I actually had some difficulty with it a bit, because I completely missed. You'll notice that these crystal lizards in the second level, they seem to have more HP, which is not that surprising. And the enemies in general have more HP, which, you know, you could probably figure that out as well. So this is the shortcut in this level, but we're just mainly going here because the Black Phantom will spawn down in the shortcut. This Black Phantom can actually be quite difficult, but once again we are going to use soul remains because they are so cheap and so effective as well. This one will use magic, and he has various magic spells like Fire Spray, Fireball, and stuff like that. There's 2 crystal lizards on the left there, but I'm actually just not going to bother with them. I think they can drop either Sharpstone, Hardstone, or Clearstone, but Scirvir here, who is the Black Phantom, he'll try to cast Regeneration at the start of the fight. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a bunch of backstabbing. Like I said, he can be very dangerous, and as you can see, he does have a lot of health. You could potentially try and, you know, outrange him, but it is going to be quite dangerous. And I got myself hit by that, which wasn't the greatest play ever. You can see that one sword attack there did half my life, though. That's pretty impressive. So one thing you'll notice with him is he'll actually get, when he gets low on HP, he'll try and heal. So make sure that you absolutely interrupt him when he does that. He's not very smart with his AI, so when he gets to low health, he'll try and back away and heal every time, and you can keep interrupting him. So you can see that our damage on Demon Brand went up to 336, and we got the Talisman of Beasts, which is great because it functions both as a catalyst and a talisman. So we can cast Evacuate with it, even though we don't have the faith or magic in order to wield it technically. So it's actually really good for utility spells, even if you don't have the stats.
Thank goodness you are safe. I was worried sick about you. We are indebted to you, for you fight on our behalf.
What? You again? The disciples and the magicians in the Nexus despise one another. Did you notice they never sit in sight of each other? The fools. What good comes of childish rivalries? We are all prisoners here.